Right, so you've got your song all finished off in Logic, and now you want to export the stems, not the multi-track, perhaps stem mastering, or to send to somebody else to do a stem mix, something of that nature. To do that in Logic, first we need to give everything its own auxiliary for it to go to, and that's how we're going to create our stems inside Logic. So the way to do that is we need to group things up. For example, if I was to take everything from here upwards, this includes a nice drum stack here. That is going to be my sort of percussion and drums. Once I've selected those channels, and just hold shift and click from one to the other. Down here on the mixer, just press X to get the mixer up as the default shortcut. Where it says stereo out, we're going to send this to a new bus. Now I'll start making these from bus 20 just so we can see this nice and easily. And that's going to appear over here on the right hand side. And we're just going to rename it drums. And now if I were to solo this, we can see it solos out the percussion elements of the track. And a big thanks to the channel sponsor Distrokid. Distrokid is a music distribution service and the best way to get your music out to all of the modern streaming services fast, efficiently, and within an independent artist's budget. Check out the description below for a discount today. Now you might have done this at the mixing stage already, and you may mix into buses as well. I certainly don't always do that. We need to repeat this for every element in our track. Okay, so how do we now export these? Well, we need to do a similar thing we've just done. We're going to select these channels just from the mixer here. So I'll just do all Vox, drums and inst. Ideally, you're going to have every element of your track going into some kind of auxiliary to make a stem from. And once we've done that, we need to add these into our playlist. So I'm just going to right click here and I can do create track. Right, that gives us a little track stack here of my 3 auxiliaries, right? Ideally, you're going to hit solo on these and you'll see that every element of your track is then included within these. But for example purposes, I'll just do these 3. So now we've got these, we've got them highlighted. What we want to then do is go into File. We're going to export 3 tracks as audio files. Those are the 3 that we've got selected at the bottom just there. Okay, that's going to give us this folder here. Now, ideally, you're going to want to put it in your main folder. As I'm just doing this as an example, I'm just going to stick it on the desktop and I'll hit new folder to create a new folder. So that's now got its own folder. Okay, range-wise, do we want to trim silence at file end? Well, yeah, we probably will. Or we can just do extend file length to project end. Depends what you need and what works out for you. If you've got a really long reverb at the end that tails off for 2 minutes, you might just want to do the trim silence and it will decide where that's going to be. Or my trick is to just pop a gate on the master. Mention of reverbs, if you've got a reverb and you want to export that as a stem, you need to select that as well by bringing it into the playlist like we've done here. Format, completely up to you. I personally do WAV 24-bit. Some people do AIF. I'm not here to fight. We don't want to bypass effects plugins. In this case, I've only got the EQ on the vocal, but I do want that in there. It is the stem and the sound that I want it to have. Do we want to include volume and pan automation? Completely up to you. I tend to do that on a track by track basis, not so much on the stems, unless it's gain automation, in which case, yes, absolutely include it. Normalize overload protection only. No, I will turn it off entirely. Everything should be leveled so that it is not clipping. And do I want to add the resulting files to the project browser? No, I don't. I just want them to land in that folder. I don't need the stems to be in this project. How are we going to name it? Well, here it's going to include the track name and something called custom. Custom, we could, for example, put the word stem in and it's going to add stem. So file example would be all Vox stem. If you put a space in, by the way, it does give you a space. I tend to put a little dash like that. You can add the project name and other things in if you would like, completely up to you. If it's going out to somebody, completely up to you what you want to include in the file. So once we've done that, bosh, hit export, and it's going to do its thing. It's going to run through your track and export for you. And now if we just seek over to our files, I can grab the all stem Vox. And there they are. And that, guys, is the very simple process of how to get stems out of Logic without messing around with any of the multi-track nonsense. Hope the video was helpful for you guys, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.